faithfully delivering value by interpreting great books from around the world. Hello, this is Sally's Book Talk. Today we're interpreting the book called Reliable with the subtitle Top Consultant Teaches You the Fundamentals of Work. As a newbie at work, I wonder if you've had this kind of frustration. Busy all day without even time for a sip of water, often working overtime, evenings and weekends, yet your boss still has 100 complaints about you. Then look at those workplace veterans, calm and composed every day, seeming to finish tasks effortlessly, radiating reliability in every move. So, where exactly lies the difference between workplace newbies and veterans? When first entering the workplace, what preparations must you make to smoothly become a reliable person? The book we're discussing today will give you clear answers. The author of this book, Oshi Aruyu, graduated from Keio Art University in Japan, worked at Accenture Japan, and is now a freelance consultant and writer. He interviewed multiple successful figures in the management industry and drew one conclusion. To advance quickly from a workplace newbie to a veteran, the most fundamental and crucial thing is mastering basic work skills. And the first year on the job is the critical period for practicing these basics. The author summarizes communication, thinking, document creation, and professionalism in the book. I'll explain each of these 4 basic skills for you below. Let's first talk about the primary skill workplace newcomers need to practice: communication techniques. In workplace communication, the first priority is efficiency, how to quickly convey information to the listener. The listener could be your superior, client, or colleague. The author recommends the PrEP model, a standard for daily workplace communication. T stands for point in English. In Chinese, it means conclusion. When reading a novel or watching a movie, you're drawn in by suspense, often only learning the ending at the last moment. How well suspense is crafted becomes key to success. However, professionals can't set suspense. You must prioritize the conclusion. This is the first step in the PrEP model, and the most crucial one. For example, you've just completed a project feasibility report and need to present it to your boss. If you present things chronologically, detailing your investigation process first, though this shows your hard work, your boss will be very dissatisfied. Because what the boss wants most is the result, whether the project is feasible. So you should lead with the conclusion, stating the most critical information first. That's effective workplace communication. This applies not just to verbal communication, but also to emails and reports. After stating your conclusion, follow the PERP model. Step 2, R stands for reason, explaining why your conclusion is valid and evidence-based. When presenting your reasoning, newcomers must prioritize logical arguments. What does that mean? For example, your department decides to request $2 million funding after thorough analysis, and you submit it to finance for approval. The finance manager scans it and says, "The project seems solid, but such initiatives usually cap at $1 million. What would you do?" Some female newcomers might use doe-eyed pleas to get the signature, while some male newcomers might emphasize that a senior expert proposed it with leadership endorsement. Do these tactics actually work? Absolutely useless. For an experienced finance manager, emotional pressure, soft or hard, is ineffective. The most effective approach is leading with logic. Explain why this project needs $2 million, where the value lies. What returns will it bring? What long-term impacts might it have? So before appealing to emotions, newcomers must master rational persuasion. Of course, while making logical arguments, support them with concrete examples. This brings us to E in PrEP. Example, the ally of logic. Say you're convincing a client to invest in green tech. Beyond listing industry advantages, give specific cases, like where green tech is booming regionally or investors who profited from it. As a newcomer, you might lack examples due to limited experience. The author gives newcomers a communication tip. Highlight data. Take the green tech investment case. What's the industry's annual growth rate? What specific cases do you know? Key metrics like investors' ROI should be prominently featured. After stating your conclusion, present the evidence. After giving examples, reiterate your conclusion, the final P, and prep to complete the model. Additionally, the author advises newcomers to match the listener's pace for comprehension. What seems like a one-way presentation is actually interactive communication. During each point or slide, engage your listener, observe reactions, and adjust content or delivery for clarity. This is crucial. So adapt both rhythm and expression style to different audiences. Trendy jargon backfires if your audience doesn't grasp it. For instance, terms like PV, page views, and IP visits are common internet jargon. These abbreviations work fine within the tech industry, but for traditional sector clients, consider explaining acronyms upfront. Similarly, some companies develop internal lingo, like the author's former consulting firm using job for projects. While case is standard elsewhere, job works internally. But using it externally causes confusion. Advanced communication means exceeding expectations by deeply understanding needs. Anticipate overlooked factors or contingencies. For example, if your boss asks you to assess a project's feasibility, ultimately your report shouldn't just conclude feasibility, dig deeper within your capacity. If feasible, examine investment timing, amount, potential issues, and risks. Include these in your report. If not feasible, suggest alternative investments. Though challenging yet realistic, this higher level skill is essential for career advancement. All right, that concludes the first core skill for workplace newcomers in communication. Be direct using prep. Ensure clarity and adjust rhythm based on listener feedback. Even better if you exceed expectations by deeply understanding their needs. But achieving this requires more than communication. Deepen your understanding and learn to think critically. This leads to the second core skill, thinking, the foundation for advancing work. So what should newcomers focus their thinking on? The author shares a personal experience. As a new consultant, his firm was hired by a university to dispatch researchers to 100+ high schools, aiming to attract seniors. His task? Creating the visitation schedule. Initially thinking it's simple, he grouped nearby schools using maps and quickly submitted the schedule. But his boss frowned. Oh, Ishi, this won't work. Don't start blindly. Think first. But think about what the boss patiently explained. Since the goal was collecting school data for the university, he needed optimal routes for researchers and to prioritize schools the university valued most. For example, allocate more time for larger or high-achieving schools and consult researchers, since they'd execute the schedule. After careful thought, the author presented the final work plan. First, he surveyed the areas containing schools to visit and the approximate number per region. Then, based on each school's specifics, estimated visit durations, extending time for key schools to calculate total days and schedule. Next, he communicated thoroughly with researchers. If no objections arose, he created a detailed schedule. For example, exact departure times and transportation between schools. If researchers raised concerns, like too many schools scheduled one day affecting quality, he revised that section. This plan earned the boss's approval, and researchers completed visits smoothly. Through this, the author realized, clarify your approach and method before execution, ensuring no gaps. Like constructing a building. First, design blueprints and feasibility studies, then build. To practice critical thinking, the author introduces the cloud rain umbrella model. What does that mean? It's simple to grasp. We're about to leave, see dark clouds, and no rain is imminent. That's when you need an umbrella applying this to work. Clouds represent facts, the observable reality. Dark clouds, meaning rain, is your objective analysis. The umbrella represents action, your solution. For instance, your company launched a product a month ago, and your boss requests market research. The common newbie mistake stating only facts compiling raw data for the boss. The proper research requires predicting market trends, rain, and proposing actions, umbrella. Another error, mixing fact analysis with actions, causing logical confusion. So the author suggests using report headings. Divide into three parts. First, current facts. Second, your own interpretation and analysis. Third, the recommended action plan. This approach not only gives you clear mental structure for better thinking, but also makes your report easier for listeners to understand. Cloud Rain Umbrella is just the most basic thinking model. After mastering this model, you should further exercise and advance your thinking skills. That means learning to extract truly valuable information from massive data and analyze it effectively. What does that mean? In today's information-rich world, we're flooded with data daily, but information volume doesn't determine capability. Analytical thinking does. So how can you develop this ability? The author suggests daily practice. When browsing news like Beijing Shanghai high-speed rail earned nearly 10 billion yuan last year, becoming travelers' top choice, before reading the article, take 1 minute to think. For example, why did it generate such high profits? What makes travelers choose rail over planes or other transport? After pondering these, read the article to compare your analysis. This sharpens critical thinking. All right, that concludes the book's second key point, how newcomers develop thinking skills. As a newcomer, allocate thinking time. Plan your approach before execution while actively exercising critical thinking. Use frameworks like Cloud Dash, Rain Dash, Umbrella, and don't just collect data, learn to analyze amidst information overload. We've now covered two core skills for newcomers, communication and thinking. Some might say, I admit these skills matter, but my work is mostly administrative, like taking meeting minutes, making PPTs, Excel sheets. Any good improvement methods? The author addresses this too. The third core skill for newcomers is document creation. There we'll focus on meeting minutes and PPTs, starting with minutes. In many Japanese consulting firms, seniors spend significant time revising minutes for new hires. The most common mistake newcomers make is writing minutes as verbatim transcripts, recording every word spoken. This may seem comprehensive, but key decisions get buried in text overload. So what's the most critical content? It's the meeting's final decisions. Effective minutes include time, location, attendees, agenda, and crucially, decisions made. Meeting decisions cover four elements: resolved items, pending items, confirmation points, and next meeting preparations. For example, a company meeting deciding a new website design could be summarized as follows. First, resolved items, e.g., adopting Design C as final version, pending revisions, specifically changing homepage to warm colors and enhancing sign-up visibility. Next, pending items requiring further discussion at next meeting. B, gently, undecided domain names needing rediscussion. Then, confirmation items, e.g., since marketing head missed the meeting, reconfirm their input afterward. Lastly, preparations before next meeting, e.g., list proposed domain names for discussion. But the author notes, this template suits general corporate meetings. For court transcripts or negotiations, verbatim records remain essential. This allows verification if decisions are challenged. Skills extend beyond minutes. Newcomers must also categorize clearly when managing projects, e.g., if the company runs multiple projects and your boss requests progress updates. Creating a simple, clear project management table is vital at this stage. Three elements must be clearly outlined in the management table. First, who's responsible for this project? Second is timelines, start and completion dates. Third are specific solutions for project issues. After mastering minutes and project tables, newcomers must learn PPT creation, something many already know. But workplace PPTs demand simplicity above all. Many overload slides with content, confusing viewers. The author advises, dedicate each slide to one issue, using just two components. First, an objective description, images, tables, charts. Second, concise analysis and one-sentence conclusions. For multiple analyses or conclusions, use separate slides. The principle remains one analysis per slide. Document skills extend beyond PPT, master Excel, or access for data handling, since they create most shirts. Sharpening the axe won't delay chopping. Studying textbooks and practicing is essential for newcomers. Many don't think learning unimportant post-employment, just too drained to find time. So how to solve this? Focus on priorities and learn efficiently as newcomers. Don't read cover to cover like students. Study specific questions to fill knowledge gaps. All right, that concludes the third core skill, document creation fundamentals. Meeting minutes should spotlight decisions, resolved or pending items, confirmation points, and next meeting preparations. For PPTs, prioritize simplicity. Never abandon learning, focus on essentials in both. Finally, let's talk about the fourth fundamental skill new workplace entrants should have, possessing business spirit. Um, Business spirit can be understood as professional spirit or attitude, mainly focusing on improving work quality and efficiency and emphasizing teamwork and cohesion. Different industries and positions do require different professional skills, but professional spirit is widely applicable to any field or role. In this book, the author emphasizes two key aspects of professional spirit: creating value and enhancing commitment. Let's first discuss creating value, which embodies professional spirit. The core principle upheld is creating value. Value in the workplace refers to contributions to others. In other words, it's not yourself, but others who judge whether your work is valuable. We shouldn't just do whatever we want. Instead, we should make contributing to others our goal. Here, the author gives us an example of attending a meeting. It's generally thought that if a young newcomer attends a company meeting, they should mainly observe and learn. The author corrects this view, believing that not speaking wastes the meeting. This is like a TV talk show where guests always speak no matter how many are invited. If a guest remains silent throughout, it defeats the purpose of inviting them. Company meetings follow the same logic. If you attend without speaking, your value is zero. Learning and thinking should happen during regular times, not in meetings. As a workplace newcomer, you must actively speak in meetings. Your speech might be immature, but it can inspire others. Only by speaking actively can you think more, making your contributions increasingly constructive and integrating you into the meeting atmosphere. Besides creating value, the author believes having commitment is also crucial. What is commitment? Essentially, it means being reliable, completing assigned tasks and commitments on time, as the book's title suggests. It sounds simple, but sticking to it isn't easy. For example, there's an important meeting tomorrow. Your boss assigns you to prepare all materials, and you agree, saying, no problem. However, you're suddenly assigned other tasks today, and the company network is unstable, making it hard to finish within work hours. So, are you going to hastily organize the materials at hand or work overtime to do it properly? Different people might make different choices. The author found that successful workplace elites are respected and praised because commitment is a key quality they have. So, how can you build commitment? First, you need to understand what the work involves. Movies are often super enthusiastic, but that passion comes from novelty and doesn't last. Only by truly grasping the meaning of your job can you love it from the heart, find happiness in it, and stop whining about overtime. Besides understanding your work, being in a high commitment team boosts your own commitment. As the saying goes, birds of a feather flock together. When folks first join a company, they often look up to seniors as role models. Their commitment is a key factor in choosing a mentor. And when you can, hang out with committed colleagues because commitment rubs off. Someone might ask, what if most folks at my company have low commitment? The author says, change jobs ASAP. Even if the company's rep and perks are good, long-term in that environment won't boost your career. Okay, that wraps up the book's final part, how newcomers can build professional spirit. And the author thinks that beyond boosting quality and efficiency and teamwork, creating value and commitment are crucial. And that's the full summary of Reliable. The author interviewed tons of successful folks and pinpointed 4 key skills for newbies: communication, thinking, document skills, and building professional spirit. With these basics, you'll fast track from a newbie to a vital part of the company and benefit for life. Okay, that's it for Reliable. Listening notes are below the audio. See you tomorrow.